What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to TacticalBassin. Today's video, we have another underwater video. Today we are looking at plastic worms. It is winter time, so I got 4 of my favorite wintertime baits. We're gonna go subsurface, look at fish eating them in slow motion. Let's go. Underwater footage is fascinating. Those of you guys that have followed the channel for a long time, you know that we have some epic underwater footage. We'll link some of our favorite videos down below in the video description. But today, like I said in the intro, it is wintertime, so I got 4 of my favorite wintertime plastic worms that we're gonna go subsurface and look at in slow motion, look at how they move in the water, look at the fish, their reactions. So much can be learned from looking at slow motion footage underwater. So I got some footage we're gonna pull up. I'll watch it with you, kind of analyze it. Let's go. Starting off, let's look at the Ned Rig. This is actually the Ned Bomb. I love smallmouth, they're so mean. Look at the fall of this bait, just kind of glides down, kind of shimmies. Again, we'll link all of these worms down below in the video description. But I have this one paired up with a tungsten head. Listen to what the sound of that head, the sound it makes when it hits the rocks. That tungsten is such a distinct sound. This is that X Zone Ned bait. How can you have an underwater winter fishing video without talking about, winter finesse fishing video without talking about the Ned Rig? So again, I'll link some of my favorite Ned Rigs down below, but this is the X Zone. You'll see how this bait stands up. A lot of subtle action with that bulbous tail. I love in slow motion watching the fish, their mannerisms, watching their dorsal fin. As soon as that switch flips, they're like, it's go time, and you can just tell when they're gonna eat it. I love the underwater stuff. I love the slow motion stuff. Slow it down. That's the robo worm, their Ned bait. In previous videos, I talked about bite placement and how smart these fish are, how accurate they are with their bites. You can see right there, that was right behind the hook. That missile baits has that kind of beaver tail on the back and just real subtle action. It's great in wintertime, great in cold water. You don't want too much action. Just little rod twitches or the current makes that little tail just dance just enough. Gone. One thing to pay attention to in these videos is what other sounds are going on, the trolling motor or boats running by, or the weight, the sound of your weight hitting the rocks, the gravel. Nice largemouth there, just opening its mouth and just sucking that Ned Rig in. Again, that's the robo worm, one of my favorites. Smallmouth are so cool. Another one coming in the back. Again, that's the X Zone. Look at how that thing kind of swims when you kind of hop it and pump it. Watch how it falls. It's so territorial. So much goes on underwater that we can't see when we're up on the surface. You know, the little subtle movement of the grass or the the particles in the water. There's so much movement going on. Again, the dorsal fin's not up. He's not aggressive right now. Oh, there it was. Chasing off a carp. The Ned Rig is such a special bait, especially in the wintertime with cold water. Look how that thing falls, just that real subtle swimming action. Again, the Ned Rig is such a critical bait to be throwing in winter with the low water temps. And eat it. Boom. I could watch slow motion underwater footage for hours. This is a little TRD craw. You can see a little different profile, little swimming action. Got those pinchers up in the air. So fast, they eat it so fast. And what you notice is how fast they can be on and off that bait. That's why it's so important to have the best or the nicest, most sensitive gear that you can afford, especially for finesse fishing. But nice smallmouth just choking that TRD craw. Look how the light reflects on the surface. All right, now let's switch gears to drop shot. Cool. Couple things here. Look at that real subtle action. Very small rod twitches. You see that paddle tail? That's that smallie smasher. One of our favorites. But the other thing to pay attention to is how fast these fish could spit that bait back out. You know, you feel that tick, you have like a split second or two to set that hook before they realize that it's fake and spit it out. I'll typically go with an exposed hook unless I'm fishing around some kind of hard structure, wood, docks, grass lines. I'll go with that exposed hook. You have a better chance of that hook hooking the fish themselves. Makes it harder for them to spit out. Little largemouth creeping in the background. But again, that drop shot in the wintertime, drop that rod tip, real subtle movement to the bait. What was that, 3 seconds before it spit it out? So cool watching these fish eat and just their mannerisms in slow motion. Sometimes they don't want to give it back. I'm watching the eyeballs move. There's just so much. When you can get down in their zone, their environment, and just analyze everything, the way the light reflects or refracts off of the bottom, the way the grass moves, the way your bait moves with the subtle rod twitches or shakes. Now again, we're not trying to catch these fish. We're just trying to get footage. So that's why we're not setting the hook. That's why we're not trying to catch them over and over again. We're just trying to see how they react to different baits. You know, some of these fish, we put different baits on them and they didn't care at all. Look at that subtle action of that tail. That's that smallie smasher, one of our all-time favorites. We're not trying to catch these fish. We're just trying to get this footage so that we can analyze it in slow motion. Some of these fish, we'd throw baits down to them and they didn't care. It was totally fish dependent and bait dependent. And we've talked about it in previous underwater videos, but it seems like every fish has their own personality, their own mannerisms, and they all react to baits differently. This is why you want nice, sharp drop shot hooks, well, all hooks. But see, trying to eject that bait out of its mouth actually hooks into the roof of his mouth. That's that owner mosquito light. That's a #1, and I'll link that down below in the video description, but that is an awesome, awesome drop shot hook. Very light wire, doesn't take up too much of the action of the worm. It doesn't overpower it or weight it. Very good hook. All right, here's some Shaky Head stuff. So Ned Rig, drop shot. Now we'll do Shaky Head, and then we'll talk Neko Rig. The benefit of the Shaky Head, it's rigged weedless, so you can fish it around grass lines, around dock pilings, that sort of stuff. You don't have that exposed hook. But creeping, here he comes. But if I was going out winter fishing right now, these would be my 4 top finesse plastic worms, my finesse worms I'd be throwing. Some kind of Ned Rig, some kind of drop shot, some kind of Shaky Head, and then a Neko Rig with an exposed hook. You can see the Shaky Heads right there in the grass hung up. Largemouth don't care. I'm going to take the whole grass patch with them. So cool seeing them in their natural environment. Next up is going to be the Neko Rig. Those guys that don't know what a Neko Rig is, it's a weight in the head of the bait, typically with an O-ring or some kind of band that you run your hook through, and you run your hook about an inch, inch and a half up from the weight, and it just kind of sits on the bottom, and you shake, and that tail sticks up and drives those fish crazy. But again, this time of the year, you're gonna real subtle, just real subtle action. Look at that. That's the Missile Baits Shaky Head worm. I believe it's the Quiver 6.5, maybe. Don't quote me. I'll link it down below in the video description. But that is a phenomenal Neko Rig worm as well. There it is, guys. Some awesome, amazing underwater footage for you. You know, like I said before, I analyze this stuff for hours, just looking at how baits work underwater, looking at slow motion, how the light reflects off the bottom, colors, all that sort of stuff. You can learn so much from underwater. And down below, I will link some of our favorite underwater videos, different types of videos. But hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Hopefully you guys like this video. Again, underwater, I could spend hours analyzing because there's so much to learn once you go subsurface and look at everything that's going on, the whole environment, you know, boats running by, what the wakes do to the shoreline and how it changes the way the fish position, just all those little things you could analyze. But today's video, plastic worms, wintertime fishing. Again, I'll link my favorites down below in the video description. Hopefully you guys paid attention to color and how they kind of looked in that clear water. That is key. Underwater footage, you need that clear water, you need that high sun, so you can see how it kind of baits with flake in them, baits with different types of tails, how they move, all of that stuff. So watch it 2, 3, 4 times and take notes and pay attention to what's going on. Again, hopefully you guys liked that video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to our channel. We do 3, sometimes 4, 5, or 6 videos a week, strictly teaching to help you guys learn and effectively put more fish in the boat. As always, guys, we appreciate you. Have a good one.